Hey everyone, I'm Tyler Metcalf and I watched the film so you don't have to. On this video, we're taking a look at one of the most dynamic and prolific scorers in the country this last year, Tre Johnson. Now, we're not going to look at his passing or potential decision making and the upside that's there. I did a video on that a couple weeks ago. Today, we're just looking at buckets and what made Tre one of the most prolific and dynamic and versatile scorers in the country. There's so much good, some bad, some questions, some concerns, but we're just looking at why he is one of the most exciting scorers in the 2025 NBA draft, the good, the bad, and some comparisons on what his game can look like at the next level. Welcome to film school. Let's dive in. So, despite being one of the most prolific scorers in the country and setting records at Texas for freshman scoring, and anytime you're breaking Kevin Durant's scoring records, you'd think people would be a little more excited and optimistic about how Tre's scoring game will translate to the next level, but there are an enormous amount of questions and pearl clutching going on about his shot selection and whether or not his scoring game and scoring versatility will actually translate to the NBA level in a way that contributes to winning basketball. Now, I'm fully in on Tre's scoring versatility, the effectiveness, and I think when he's not the clear cut number one offensive option and offensive decision maker and has some NBA spacing and he can operate in more of that classic off ball traditional shooting guard role, I think the shot selection is going to improve significantly. I think a lot of the scoring efficiency is going to improve significantly, and I think a lot of the rim pressure stuff is going to improve significantly because he's not a bad athlete. At the combine, he had a standing vert of 32 inches, a max vert of 37 and a half. He's got some sneaky bounce to him, but he does struggle to get downhill. When we look at his scoring arsenal, though, and look at synergy to see the distribution and effectiveness of it, it's a really encouraging distribution, and there's so much versatility. He ranked in the 76th percentile in points per possession overall, the 80th percentile in pick and roll scoring, 57th spotting up, 81st in transition, 52nd in isolation, 91st running off screens, the 39th in off of handoffs, and the 86th on post ups. Now, across all of those different play types, the frequency ranged from 6% to 19%. So, what that tells us is that he isn't a one trick pony. He's doing a whole lot of, or he's operating and scoring out of a whole plethora of looks. And the top four, pick and roll, isolation, transition, and isolation, range between 16 and 19% of his play type frequency. So, that he has some on ball juice as a second side guy. He's a really good outlet. He can run the occasional empty corner pick and roll to as the defense rotates over. There's a lot of versatility to Tre's scoring. He isn't just a shot chucker. He isn't just a volume scorer. There's real nuance to his game. Now, additionally, the jumper is a big tool of his that he leans on a lot. He ranked in the 76th percentile in points per shot on all jumpers, the 84th percentile shooting off the catch, and 40.8% from three, 75th percentile off the bounce. Now, the big concern is the rim pressure. Just the 28th percentile at the rim, and shot just 46.5% at the rim in the half court. That's a really concerning number, and that's where some of the big question marks about how that translation will go. Now, there have been a lot of guys who have translated just fine with similar types of questions around their at-rim finishing, most notably Brandon Miller. A couple years ago, that was one of the big question marks and potential red flags with him coming into the draft was, man, he really struggles around the rim. And for someone that big and that apparently athletic, why can he not finish at the rim? Context, situation, and sometimes just an off year. Now, with Tre, he doesn't have that lightning quick first step that a VJ Edgecombe has. He doesn't have the strength yet that a Con Knipple has. He doesn't have the combination of both like a Dylan Harper has. It's when we look at his scoring game, his at-rim finishing and his consistent at-rim pressure is definitely the big weak spot. But the way we see him play with physicality and get to his spots effortlessly, change up when he elevates for a shot to keep the defenders on their heels. That high release, really consistent form, and paired with his work ethic, which is, by all accounts, incredibly encouraging. I struggle to see it being a. I struggle to see his at rim scoring be a real issue that significantly affects how he can score at an NBA level, especially when he's with a team that has NBA level spacing and NBA level playmakers. So the montage here is really fun. Let's dive into a couple of the clips and see and break down a little bit more of the nuance in Tre's shot creation, his shot making, and whether or not it can work at the next level. Let's start with the outside shot. Now, these are all the same clips that we're just playing during the intro there, so I'm just going to kind of stop them as we go through. But the outside shot for Tre is what sets up everything else. It sets up his ability to attack downhill, put defenders on their heels, and this may not be the ideal shot selection with 17 seconds left on the shot clock, but this showcases Tre's range and his confidence. Quick trigger, right off the catch, really quick, consistent release, catch, and he's not satisfied with how the offense is flowing. So, hey, let's put up an almost logo 3 before the defender closes out, knocks it down. Here we see him be put in motion a little bit, runs off his screen, and I love this one because, again, it showcases that confidence and that quick release where as he comes off the screen here, he likely doesn't feel his defender on him, and he knows that as he's curling, he's getting a really good look at rounding off the screen to get squared up as he catches. So as he catches, out of his peripheral vision, he can see that he's got enough space that he feels comfortable with. He's already pretty much squared up as he's getting into his elevation. Right off the bounce, high release, consistent, really tough 3. Again, put in motion, off screens, catches, too much room to give him. And when you're giving him this much room, he's going to make you pay, especially on nights where he gets hot, and he can get hot in a hurry. That quick decision, defender goes under. Most college players, they're 25 to 30 feet out. They're 4 feet behind the three-point line. You think that's a safe spot to go under? Not for Tre. This is more than NBA level range. There's zero hesitation. Defender goes under. Solid screen. A little bit of a moving one, but hey, apparently no one calls that anymore, so why not? Tre just confidently steps into it. It's too easy for him. Now we're in a little more of a on-ball situation. Exact same thing. Quick decision. Good screen. Drop defender is miles away. Inexcusable defensive coverage for someone of Tre's caliber as a shooter. He knows that the second that his teammate is coming to set the screen, and he sees that Okpara is sitting down in the middle of the lane, he knows that if there's any decent contact on the screen, he's going up. He's taking that shot immediately. Solid screen, gets him just enough space. Smaller defender too, so he knows that he can step into this confidently. Easy. Again, on ball, little jab step. That's all the window he needs. He doesn't create a ton of space here, but that little jab step gets the defender leaning just a little bit. Hits him right there. Defender doesn't even really react to it, but it's enough where as that jab step comes, we can see him lean back a little bit on his heels. That's just that's enough space for Tre to create, because now he elevates that high release point, gets it over the late contest. That's a really tough shot. The defender doesn't do much wrong here. He just leans back on his heels just a little bit. Tre immediately recognizes it, rises up in rhythm, knocks it down. Exact same thing. Just a little jab step, gets the defender to take that retreat half step even, not even a full one, plants off, and that's a tough shot. Is it a good one? Maybe not, But the common theme with all of these outside jumpers are the window is really small. Tre doesn't need a 6 lane highway in terms of opening to be able to shoot. He just needs a sliver of a window, and that's the type of shot making that we tend to see translate to the next level. He's very comfortable under duress. Late contests don't really bother him, and just simple little jab steps and step backs like that, like this one here, sends Blue Cane flying the other way, creates a this is one of the bigger windows he's created on these. Does a really good job of playing with his momentum and halting it, plants that right foot, steps back. Now, when we think about what he'll look like in a couple years when he gets even a little stronger, NBA defenders are a little better than Blue Cane. So this step back is probably going to have to be a little more egregious. But as he gets stronger and continues to work on that with experience, you got to imagine that step is then going to propel him back here, another foot or so. He does such a good job of getting his feet under him, staying on balance, getting composed, and getting that shot off really, really quick, regardless of how aggressive or late the defensive contest and the shot contest is. One more time. Not a big window there. Liam McNeely is like 6'7", 6'8". This is pretty solid defense from him. Tre does a really good job killing his momentum, sends the defender about half a step, plants with that right foot, launches back. Great footwork, great balance throughout. High release point, really consistent mechanics. It doesn't really matter whether he's running off screens, stepping into a shot, hitting a step back, side step three. His footwork, his balance, and his upper body mechanics are always exactly where they need to be. The importance of the outside shooting being as prolific as it is that it sets up everything at the rim and in the mid-range too. It forces defenders to close out aggressively, to get into him a little more aggressively on the perimeter, and that just makes life more difficult for them. So, as the ball swings to him here, the defender is out of position in transition. He doesn't pick up early, and that's mainly because no one else on his team got back. So he was the first one back in the early offense here, so he's making sure there isn't an easy bucket at the rim, but now he's lost track of one of the most prolific scorers in the country. And that requires him this long closeout, because if he closes out short, Tre's going up with that shot, and we just saw how effective and confident that is for him. Instead, long closeout, Tre does a really good job of improvising here. He initially wanted to go middle. Defender cuts that off. Tre does a really great job of spinning back against that momentum. And now he attacks downhill. One of the handful of impressive finishes through contact for him this year. But, I expect that to get better as he gets stronger. If it doesn't, well, then we'll see. But he does a really good job here of attacking the space and attacking the shot blocker's body directly, so he can't really elevate. Tries to draw the foul, defender stays vertical. Tre absorbs the contact, finishes through it. Really nice bucket. Really similar thing here again. Early in transition, defender closes out hard, but really good defensive stance here. Reacts really well to Tre trying to attack, get downhill, and just an unorthodox and shaking up the timing of his elevation on this pull-up here. Throws the defender off. Defender's expecting him to drive downhill, but since Tre is really decisive in his attack here, he gets the defender's hips turned enough toward where they're almost parallel with the baseline. And from here, Tre knows that he can manipulate the defender a little bit. So instead of trying to attack all the way downhill or force a spin back middle, he just rises up. He's confident. The balance is there. Rises up over the smaller defender. Defender can only just put a hand up. Doesn't have time or the balance to properly react and elevate to really contest the shot. And Tre knocks down a low elbow jumper. Now in the pick and roll, Billy Richmond's picking him up. basically once he crosses half court, and Tre reads it. They're hard hedging, which means all of the space in the middle is going to be wide open. And this is where some of the footwork and the first step concerns come into play, because Billy Richmond's a really good defender, really good athlete, and Tre doesn't really beat him off the dribble. He takes a pretty rounded drive here. Richmond does a good job of forcing him out towards the elbow, but Tre is really relentless, just keeps going and just continues to attack the space. Richmond can't get back rim side. He's expecting a little more help from his rim protector, their secondary rim protector, as the primary's out still beyond the arc. And Tre does a really nice job of snaking back through here as he cuts back in front of Richmond. That makes sure that Richmond can't really disrupt. And since Trayvon Brazil here is in the process of rotating out to his guy, he's a half step late to react and cut off Tre. Tre does a great job of elevating through the traffic, using his body to shield the ball, extends out with that right hand, uses his body to shield it from Brazil, uses the other side of the rim to shield it from Brazil as well, and really crafty finish there. See him in an off-ball roll, and Jemai Meshack, one of the best defenders in the country this year, he's trying to deny Tre the ball. And the entire point here is for Tre to run off the screen, get the handoff, curl middle, and make something happen. Instead, he recognizes the aggressive ball denial, sees no one is protecting the rim, so he just creates space, a little shove off to separate, cuts middle, easy dunk, all because of the threat of his outside shot. Now this one is just a grown man bucket. Defender does an incredible job on this play. Tre's going bully ball. He's trying to muscle him out and trying to create space in time. As he gets stronger and that physical development inevitably comes, these will likely get just even more easy, or not easy, but translate a little more effectively. And year 3 to 5 of him trying to create these shots will surely look better than they will in his rookie year. But he's just going bully ball here, can't create much space. Defender does an awesome job here, and it's just a matter of better offense beating good defense. And that's the theme with Tre a lot. Another just really crafty finish here. Little icing on the cake. Defender has to go over. A little miscommunication on the drop defender here, where they don't really switch. He doesn't affect Tre at all. Tre does a really good job of recognizing that the baseline driving angle is open. So he just keeps attacking, gets to the lane before the defender can rotate over. So he knows that he has a pretty easy scoring opportunity here at the rim, and does a great job controlling his body, acrobatic finish through contact. But so many of these interior mid-range jumpers at rim shots are all set up by the threat of his outside shooting. And once he's in an NBA system with NBA playmakers and other NBA level shooters, those opportunities should be very, very ample for him going forward. Why I get so excited about Tre Johnson's translation to the NBA and what he'll look like, not just as a rookie, but in year 3, year 5, year 8, year 10, year 12 as a scorer, is because we've seen it before. And we've seen it from some of the best shooting guards in the history of the league, in Ray Allen, Brandon Roy, and Devin Booker, who are 3 of the most used comps I've had for Tre throughout this entire season. These guys aren't necessarily MVPs, but they're all NBA level. They're all stars. They're perennial scorers, and they're some of the most lethal and dynamic and versatile scorers in the league over the last 25 years. And a common theme throughout all of them with these clips with Trey and Brandon Roy and Ray Allen and Devin Booker is they're not creating acres of space, because it is nearly impossible to consistently create acres of space against NBA level defenders. Instead, they're creating exactly as much space as they need to, and they're comfortable doing it because their footwork, their balance, and their shooting mechanics are pristine and perfect and the exact same every single time, regardless of what platform they're shooting off of. If they're battling through physicality in the post, their unpredictability, their physicality, and their shooting mechanics allow them to shoot over defenders with their late contests or early contests. Their shooting threat off the ball allows them to put defenders on their heels when running off of screens and spotting up to attack closeouts. We can worry and complain and throw red flags on the fact that Trey's not constantly creating a ton of a ton of space on his pull-up jumpers, or that he's taking quote unquote inefficient shots. What he did all year is take NBA level shots, and it's a NBA ready scoring repertoire. And will it struggle in his rookie year? Probably. Newsflash, it's really tough to be an NBA player and to be an NBA scorer. But the fact that he's already creating shots like these guys have throughout their NBA careers, and he's so comfortable in these small windows with these tough shots under duress, under physicality, as a freshman in college, is really, really exciting, because we've seen this scoring archetype work countless times before to some really high levels. And Tre Johnson feels like he is the next guy on that list to fill these shoes of these tough bucket-getting shooting guards who are more of the traditional off-ball shooting guards. Sure, there's some playmaking and secondary creation upside there as well, but the real value and the real archetype is him as a shooter and a scorer, and we've seen it work before. So why the distrust that it'll work for him? So where does that leave us? Tre Johnson is arguably the best scorer in the 2025 NBA draft. His mid-range game, his outside shooting, some of the crafty finishes around the rim, they're NBA level. We've seen it work countless times. So I struggle with the skepticism that it will work for him. He's a solid athlete. He had great measurements. And the fact that his shooting footwork, upper body mechanics, lower body mechanics, they're so fluid, they're so consistent. His unpredictability when he gets to his spots, he's constantly keeping defenders on their heels. He's a really difficult cover, and the amount of space that he needs to knock down a shot is incredibly small. He's comfortable under duress. He's a bucket, and he's one of the most dynamic, most fun scorers in this draft and in the last couple, honestly. Is he going to be a franchise cornerstone potential MVP candidate? I don't know. Maybe not. Is there more to his game than just getting buckets? Maybe not. I think there is. I like the passing. I did a whole video breakdown on it. Go check it out. But the main selling point with Tre Johnson is the scoring and the shooting. And it's the main selling point because it is one of the very, truly elite skills in the 2025 NBA draft.